Man is surrounded by limitations. In fact, he's a creature of circumstance, limited by time, space, human knowledge, physical strength, and endurance. No matter how desperate he is to perform a task, he can only stay awake a certain number of hours. Think about it for a minute. Then he becomes weak and useless, physically and mentally, until he gives in to sleep or rest. No matter how large of an empire that he may have, or how much he has rule over, or how much money he has to bargain with, he can't buy more than his allowed time on earth. Sometimes the greatest men, they have to leave the earth weeping in sorrow of the power and authority due to limitations of the physical body. These limitations are improved by divine authority, and they're imposed by divine authority. See, God has set boundaries, and only by God can these boundaries be crossed. Take this in mind. Man can only live like a few days without water and a few weeks without food. Yet Moses stayed on Mount Sinai for a period of 3 months in the presence of God without food or water. He was sustained by divine life. When we say ignite the power, we're bringing each other into divine breakthrough. Divine breakthrough allows me to be no longer in submission or in surrenderance of natural order. Natural order brings me to a breaking place, a place where I can't do anything more than naturally understood to be done. Think about it for a minute. Science and scientists have been studying the stars and the planets. They've sent out their microphones and their different technology in order to study God, and they still have not found the fullness. And they've been doing this over 6,000 years. Yet God grants us in His Word today the divine ability to master the odds in which man has set before us, the boundaries that man has set before us. God has substantiated divine boundaries. And the only way that natural boundaries are crossed are through divine breakthrough. Allow God to bring you to divine breakthrough. Some of us have not matriculated from as higher schools of thought as other individuals. We don't have such great education. We don't have so much money in the bank. We don't have all of the fine necessities to life as others see them. But God has said, I will sustain you. I will place you in places that others will become baffled at how in the world did this individual get here? Because God has a gift on the inside of you that will make room for you in high places. God is the true elevator. The word declares that there is no authority except that established by God. God is waiting on his people, which are called by his name, to humble themselves, call out to him in prayer, and say, God, I'll be willing to be used in every way and in every measure that you will have me be used. And then you'll see true elevation. Because he will ignite the fire that is on the inside of you. He will ignite the power that is on the inside of you. And you will see greater heights than you've ever seen before. Let us stop being so blinded by the enemy, so closed-minded until we can't hear a word from the man of God because he doesn't have the education that you think he ought to have, or because he has had a past that you don't approve of. God chose him and he chose his path. He chose him to suffer the hardships so that you don't have to suffer those different hardships. He suffered him to be the individual that had to wallow in that mud so that you don't have to wallow in that mud. And then he took this man, he took this woman, and he cleaned them up. And he called them by name. And he justified them. And now he has glorified them. And now the words that they speak are words that can ignite the fire on the inside of you, empowering you to be greater than you've ever been before. Listen to and obey the Spirit of God, for God chose that man or woman. They didn't choose themselves. God chose them, and now God is choosing you. He said, the day that you hear my voice, harden not your heart. His voice is being elevated through these different men and women of God. And no, they are not the world's choice. They are God's chosen. Listen to and obey them. Surrender and submit to the words in which they speak, and God will elevate you in your obedience. We are no longer children of disobedience. We are children of obedience. The obedience of God will take you into higher places than ever before. God no longer desires sacrifice. He desires obedience. Listen. Harden not your heart. Obey. Ignite the fire that is in you, that it may ignite the fire that is in others. God bless you. God keep you. Ignite the fire. Ignite the fire. that the power may be ignited in you.